This episode is brought to you by East West Bank. Asian American Girl Club are proud clients, and truly, they've helped bring these stories to life. They're one of the top performing banks in the country and are actually committed to building bridges and creating opportunities. For us, banking with a team that understands our community has been such a smooth and supportive experience. Thank you so much to East West Bank. Hello, this is Undefinable, an AGC Originals podcast. Hi, Kara.
Hi, Jenna.
How are you today?
I'm so good. I'm so good.
So good. Always just waking up
I know.
happy.
I need to stop saying that. Every time you ask me that, I have the exact same response.
It should be, though. If it's true, it's true.
It's true. The one day I'm like going to be like, not good. Everybody be on alert.
We're going to know. This is going to be a really fun, informative episode today that I'm really excited to dive into.
Oh, I'm really excited about this conversation.
No, I know. Renee and Rosalind are here, and I have so many questions.
Yes.
I have a question for you, Kara. What was your relationship to your finances growing up? Like, what did you see, and then how did that impact your life?
Oh, that's actually such a good question. I mean, I think growing up, my parents didn't talk about money that much. I mean, we really didn't grow up, with a lot.
Yeah.
And so I think it was a lot of like shielding and making sure that we weren't seeing what we were, maybe missing, which now thinking back as an adult, I'm like, in the moment, it really didn't feel like we ever asked for anything. But now looking back, I can see how much my parents struggled and made sure that, it didn't trickle down to us.
That's really good.
But like also cut to adulthood, I was like, dude, somebody in college needs to teach us about
high school.
Something.
High school.
I mean, high school. It's true. I'm like, why? Nobody teaches us about any of this stuff, especially as a theater major.
The really important things that you should be learning in school and college, you're not.
Literally, why did nobody tell us about like high yield savings accounts? Like what is an IRA? I am embarrassed to tell you what age I was when I learned about these things.
I mean,
it's
most
not
recently.
Good. It's not good.
Yeah, most recently.
How about yourself?
Yeah, I grew up because I was in the business. Like I had an accountant from a very young age. And so I never had to learn about it. Somebody always just did it for me. So like I never learned how to save money. I never learned how to invest. I never learned how to like balance my checkbook and like do checkbook.
Oh, R.I.P. I miss a handwritten check.
I do too.
I will say that.
I do too. So I never learned, and I wish I learned more.
Yeah.
And I wish I learned more in school.
Yeah.
And we didn't grow up without, and so I was very lucky and very privileged, but I therefore didn't learn about money. Like it just wasn't a conversation.
Right.
So I'm really excited. I feel like we're going to learn a lot today.
Oh, we're going to learn so much.
Okay, bear with me here. Okay, we've got two powerhouses here. Renee Sun is managing director and director of SoCal Retail Banking at East West Bank, where she oversees 42 Southern California branches, including the Pasadena headquarters.
42.
With over 2 decades of experience in banking and financial services, she's deeply committed to community development and creating culturally connected neighborhoods. An active leader in Pasadena, Renee serves on the boards of MUSE and First T Greater Pasadena and supports organizations including 5 Acres, Friends Indeed, and Habitat for Humanity. Born in Taiwan and raised between Hawaii and Taiwan, she's fluent in English and Mandarin, and outside of work, she's a proud mom of 2 daughters who loves music, dance, food, movies, and travel.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
Resume. Yes.
Rosalind Ong is the founding partner of RIMA Law Group, where she serves as outside general counsel for corporations and businesses. A skilled deal maker, she has negotiated multi-million-dollar deals with companies like Disney, H&M, and Sephora, and helps clients prevent legal issues through strong corporate policies and IP protection. Outside law, Rosalind is a community advocate. She's serving as chairman of the board for the Teen Leadership Foundation and is a wife and a mother of 2. She loves her job and is an entrepreneur without being an entrepreneur.
Oh, I love that closing statement. Much to learn. Much to learn.
Much to learn. Let's bring them in.
Let's do it.
Renee, Rosalind, welcome.
Hi.
Welcome
Thanks
to
for having us. This is our
Yeah.
debut podcast. Both of us have never been on a podcast, so we're
welcome.
pretty exciting.
Podcast
Honored.
virgins here.
Love it.
That's so exciting.
We're very honored.
Welcome. We're so excited for you guys to be here and for this to be your first podcast. I would love if you guys could just briefly introduce yourselves. I know that I gave the long-winded bio, but if there's, in your own words, like who are you and who do you want our listeners to know you as? Renee, do you
start?
want to?
No, you go first.
Renee, you go
Okay,
first.
I'll go first. Well, I'm Renee, and I've been in the States probably pretty much my life, but I was supposed to be born in Hawaii, and my mom didn't have anyone to take care of her, and we had drivers and housekeepers in Taiwan. My grandfather was the youngest Air Force general, so we were moving, she had me there in Taiwan instead. And then when we came to the States afterwards, and, that's how I started. But my parents got divorced when I was very young. So I moved back and forth and just bouncing between Taiwan and the U.S. and learning 2 languages, 2 different cultures, and of course, 2 different parts of the world.
Yeah. Definition of Asian American,
Yeah.
right? Mhm. Very cool.
Amazing. Rosalind?
I am the complete opposite. I was born and raised in Southern California. Born in Torrance, grew up in like Fullerton, and then went to school in Irvine, opened my law firm in Irvine. So I've just been here my whole life, but
She's deep-rooted in Irvine.
Deep-rooted, yeah.
This is like the boonies.
Did you
took
go
her
to
2
UCI?
hours.
I went to UCI.
Zaza!
I was just
Zaza!
there on Tuesday
Oh my
doing
gosh.
a thing for pre-law society there for the kids there. And it was so nice.
Aw.
I recently went back to the campus at UCI, and
different.
it's so wild. I was walking around, I was like, was I ever this little?
Yeah.
Like,
I was
they
thinking
look
the same thing.
so
like little
little.
teeny boppers.
Yeah.
And they're not teeny boppers, but,
No.
but
No.
you know what I'm saying? I was
Yeah.
like, were we ever that
You
little?
still look like that. Don't
Oh,
worry.
thank you.
She's glowing.
She's glowing.
It's the dewy. It's glowing.
dewy,
Yeah.
it's the dewy.
Korean style.
But oh my gosh, great.
Yeah.
And how did you guys meet?
So we met at an event, and I go to events all the time for the bank, and I was out there. I just took over the Irvine territory about 2 years ago, and when I went to the event, I met Rosalind at the event and her husband, but she just resonated with me, and we just started keeping in touch. And I have so much respect for what she does because I can never see myself being a lawyer, So here's
She is just
Rosalind.
awesome. I was like, dude, this girl is like everywhere. Yeah. It was a cool event. We did, we were, I think it was for
It was
Irvine
a
Public
fundraising
Schools.
for
Yeah.
the Irvine
Amazing.
Public Schools.
Oh
Yeah.
wow. Which I mean are top tier.
Yes.
10 out of 10.
Yes.
Yes.
The Irvine school system.
Wow.
Not to
No.
but-
Were you there too?
Kara's
Oh,
like,
gosh.
wow.
you know.
I would love to just go back a little bit. You both kind of touched on your childhoods and your upbringing. Given your, the fields that you guys are in now, I would love to understand your relationship to finance and to law and finance, and how that kind of like impacted where you are today.
Sure. Well, it's funny how, Kira was mentioning about no one teaches us about finance. And I think I grew up with a good, surrounding that my parents were well-to-do. But over time, I've seen them deteriorate and because they didn't know how to better manage their money. And my brother and I, we started working very young age. My dad was never about academics. He's always get C's. If you get a C, I'm happy.
Wow.
And if you get a B,
What
Tell
kind
me
of
about
Asian
this.
parent
Yeah.
did you have? What?
Go back.
Opposite
Yeah.
again review. That's
What
exactly.
was the? What
he was
the
all
theory
about
behind this?
practicality. So I started
Wow.
working in the summer illegally in Taiwan because you're able to do that. I started as a waitress at age 13 at an Italian restaurant.
Wow.
And then, I worked at Hyatt Hotel, like just walking around. But he's like, money is important that you know how to, practicality, having experience than being a bookworm, right? So when I got B's, I would get reward. A's, I would get money reward. So that's how he kind of motivated me.
I
But if
would've
C's, I
been-
would never get in trouble.
That's
I can have
amazing.
straight C's and he'd be
Wow.
happy. Yeah.
I
But I
would've
was
been
above
rich in her family. Okay, let me tell you.
But there was motivation to
Yes, there was
succeed.
motivation. But I
Right.
had a brother, and he was always the smart one. Like, he didn't seem like he needed to study much, and he always get A's and B's, but then he didn't get as much reward as I did. He goes, don't tell your brother.
Is it
Money.
is it because he set the bar too high?
No, I
'Cause
think
they-
they just favor, the daughter or something. I
Oh.
feel like
That
that's what happened.
Your family.
Yeah, like your family is like the opposite of like so many.
Yeah.
That's so.
So that's how I started. And then, my brother, who's I have to thank is the one who got me in banking, because when we were, I had the job, and my other first legal job in the United States, I worked at a bakery for a couple of years. And when I turned 18, that's the legal age you can actually apply for a bank. And he's the one who told me, hey, go get a I'm going to go apply for a bank teller job at Bank of America because they pay the highest hourly wage. And I'm going to date myself because back then when I was making at the bakery, I was making $4.25 an hour.
Wow.
And then I took his advice and I ran with it. And he never applied for the bank, but I did. I got rejected by Bank of America with no experience. And then I looked for a Chinese American bank at that time and they hired me. And it started at $7.25 an hour. Not 8, but I still took it and, just started working.
Gotta start somewhere. Gotta start
Learn
somewhere.
how to negotiate.
Wow.
Yeah, but that was
Incredible.
the reason is, I just really wanted to start learning about how to manage your money. But then as I got into banking more and more, I feel like, you don't wake up dreaming about spreadsheets or interest rates or loans and all that stuff. But you just thought about, this industry is about earning people's trust because you're managing other people's money. It's not just about your money.
Right.
And helping them succeed on their dreams. And they really turn to you for advice.
Oh, yeah.
And very early on, I'm like, would you like to do this? And, when they start listening, it empowers you a little bit.
Yeah. Wow.
Must be very fulfilling to help
Yeah.
other people with something that you,
Yeah.
were introduced to at a very
Yeah.
young age. What about you, Rosalind? What about your relationship with finances and then your experience with law and like how you got into, your field?
Yeah. I was the opposite. I think we all grew up with Tiger. My parents were like, I don't care. You just need to get A's. You need to take care of everybody. And I grew up very, we all say we grew up poor. I think it was just like, I didn't know we were poor. I just knew that I had to make money.
Yes.
So that was the thing that I knew, like, no matter what, I have to go to college and make money.
Yeah.
And so I was going to be a doctor, like all our parents told us to be, right? They were like, you need to go to college and be a doctor. And so I was bio for 3 years at UCI. And my third year, I was like, I hate this so much. Like, I hate sciences. And so
Math. You have to be good in math
yeah,
too, right?
math. Oh, but calculus was my op, as the kids say. But yeah, and then I just was like, beginning my fourth year, I had to break it to my parents. I was like, my whole goal in life was to always make money to take care of my family. That was like the only thing. And so I didn't want to be a doctor to be a doctor. I wanted to be a doctor to make money and be able to take care of them. But then when I told them, like, hey, I really want to go to law, like, I think that's where I'm taking all these poli-sci classes. I really love all this. And I think I can do it. And my parents were like, you're a woman. You cannot do the law. You're not going to, like, there are no women lawyers that make it. And I was just like, but then after a while, they were like, okay, go ahead, do it. And they supported me after a certain point. And thank God, I was able to,
Your parents must be so proud of you
God,
now.
it's just
my
so
God.
nice
truly.
to,
right?
just to be able to do that, even as a woman for them was like, they just did not think it was
Mind-blowing.
possible. Yeah, so.
I'd love to talk more about being a woman in your industries. Both of them are very male dominated.
Yeah.
What has that been like navigating that, and why is it important to you to forge forward? Like, talk to me about that. Renee, do you want to start?
Yeah. I grew up, I told you I was changing 10 schools in 12 years. So that was really hard. I was the shyest person. I always had to make new friends, have to figure out how to fit in.
Yeah.
And so growing up, you're more on the quiet side. You don't really speak up. And I'm in banking, you go into meetings or whatnot. And you look around the room, mostly are men at the time who are managers or their relationship managers or they're in their roles. And so that was really, really hard. And I never kind of see myself being able to be someone who's outspoken. And I was always afraid to share ideas, was intimidated. So I was really on the quiet side. But I've learned something that when you're quiet, you're just observing. You're taking it all in.
Yes.
And then I feel like, that's starting to shape me. And I see how this person responds, that person responds. And then afterwards, kind of like Rosalind, I was just motivated to make money. I kind of shared earlier that, my parents didn't manage their money well. So then my mom was dependent. She started staying with me. Then my dad had a health situation. So I was supporting them. So I was always chasing money, always trying to figure out, okay, how I'm going to make more money. And the only way to make more money is to get promoted or to advance to the next role.
Right.
So that's what I was chasing. And I found that even if the men are leading in the industry, we can do it too. And I kept telling myself that. And I was building confidence within myself to reach further in life. Yeah.
Wow. It's amazing. There must have been times though that you were discouraged by
Oh yeah, because they will belittle you. They would,
Yeah.
probably not take you serious,
Yeah.
and you walk in mainly at that time was
Yeah.
mainly men.
Right.
Nowadays, if you look, there's a lot of women leaders in the banking industry. So
Incredible.
that's
I
completely
mean, that's
changed.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's because of, I think, like people like you as well, like
Yeah.
fighting for those promotions, getting into these, positions of power and being
Yeah.
able to like let that trickle down as
Yeah.
well.
People seeing it happen. and,
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
people able to have the confidence to go,
Yeah.
I can get there too.
Yeah. Very
It's cool that you're able to get to watch it though
Yeah.
grow from like not many to so many.
Yeah.
more,
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's powerful. Rosalind, what about you?
Girl,
Talk about
Yeah, let's
it.
talk about it.
Yes.
You know, I mean, when I first started as an attorney, it was like I would go to court and the judge was like, "Sweetie, where,
Oh,
They
no.
start
where's
with the
your lead
sweetie. Oh my
counsel? We
gosh.
need your lead counsel here."
No.
And I'm like, I'm lead counsel,
Wow.
or like I talk to people on the phone. They're like, "Okay, let me speak to your boss." And I'm like, I'm the boss. Like, so
Wow.
when I founded my
Yeah.
firm, I was like, to be able to do that for myself and like, just it was hard. It's still hard, because it comes down to I'm still an Asian woman
Yeah.
that looks younger than these, 70-year-old men that have been doing it for so long,
Yeah.
and yes, they have experience, they have whatever, but I've been able to, beat them sometimes or
Yeah.
like, put them in their place. And it feels good sometimes to be able to
Sure.
do that,
Yes, girl.
Yeah.
You're like, it's not my fault you guys don't wear sunscreen. Like, I look good for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And being able to like hire women as well.
Oh gosh.
How-
Yeah.
I mean, it just must be so like empowering, like you said, to be able to do that and be
Yeah.
like, I see you, you know?
Yeah. And like my clients, I love the fact that I can also support women that are like
Yeah.
just bosses,
Yes.
and like they're just bosses in what they do, and I just love being able to support them and do that. So it's just seeing the women, like we all support each other. We're all doing it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so I just love it. I love being able to. I'm dating myself too, but I've been doing this for a very long time. I went to UC. I was like, that was 30 years ago I was here,
Wow.
but yeah.
Wow. So I'm curious, like for women nowadays who are pursuing careers and wanting to hit executive levels like you guys, what are some of the challenges that still exist? And what are some of the advice that you would give women? Like you just said, support women supporting women,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
It's such a powerful thing in media. We see every day women being pitted against women all the time. It's exhausting. I'm curious, like, to hear if you guys have thoughts on women who are now pursuing these careers and are like more junior and early in their careers, what you would say to them.
Well, I would say that, number one, find your voice and don't be afraid to use it. Speak up or you have an idea, because a lot of times that's what's holding us back, right? And then you want to find a good mentor, but also the more important person to find is a sponsor, someone who's going to open the door for you, because a mentor just gives you advice and they'll probably encourage you, motivate you, inspire you. But, having a sponsor is someone who's going to open those doors for you. And I feel like in my career, somebody opened the door for me. And I want to be able to give back and do the same for others. And that's why I feel like now managing 42 branches, it's just a number. The title is just a title, but it's about the 42 communities that we serve, the teams that we are out there helping and serving the community. But it's really about uplifting all the people that are on my team to get them to where they need to go and build a career in the banking industry. So that is, I feel like, something really, really powerful. And nowadays, people need to be seen. The one thing good about women is that we really have empathy. Being a parent, we know how to kind of nurture them with love, patience. So that's kind of, the advice I would give is feel confident about yourself, make intentional relationships.
Yeah.
Like how I met Rosalind, right?
Oh.
So, I think it's your support group and people who you're going to influence each other root for each other, cheer each other on, and that's what's going to keep you going, because life is full of surprises and we get knocked down all day long, and people will put you in our place too. We're trying to put people in their place, but they put us in our place too. So
Yeah.
that's kind of like what I would share with the younger folks. And, you know, don't be afraid. Anytime you have something that's intimidating, you want to find a way to overcome it. So I got out of my shell. I don't like public speaking. I'm so shy. But, you know, a couple years ago, our bank had our 50th year anniversary, and I'm the MC speaking in front of 1,000 plus people.
Oh my
And it's
gosh.
just, you know, now I see myself, I'm like, oh, I can't believe that little girl back then, that was me.
Yeah.
And now I have no problem talking to people first, you know, just getting in front, doing presentations or public speaking. I helped the bank also do kind of like a media conference with the district attorney and all of that stuff. So that was.
You're so articulate.
I know.
I
thank
know.
you.
It's
wild to
So
even
good
think of
you
that.
were, you know, were fearful of that and had issues surrounding it.
But I would tell myself, I'm going to go take a class and I'm going to overcome
So
my
yeah,
fear.
talk about this. Like, what did you do? What steps did you take to get to the place you are now?
So in college, I was a major in human resources. So it's about people and, you know, hiring, interviewing, managing. And then I go, okay, I don't want to write the paper. I was trying to find a shortcut. So I go, oh, human resources. It's a group presentation. So there's 4 heads instead of just myself. And I go, but I don't like to do public speaking. I'm so shy. So I took a public speaking class, and that class really helped me. And I said to myself, if I can pass this class, then I know maybe this is something I can do. And then the teacher told you how to do public speaking, you know, look at people's heads, you know, don't make eye contact, don't freak out. And I got an A. And then that just empowered me. I go, oh my God, I could do this.
Did
and
you
then,
get money from your parents for the A? You should be recording this. How much do they owe you? Thank you so much. I got you.
Very good, Kira.
And then the other thing is I was, for a while, I was selling life insurance for about 8 years. And I would always hear these speakers do the presentation. I go, God, they're not really doing a very good job. So I would sit into every presentation and then create my own.
Wow.
And then I started doing the presentations. I feel like we were getting people interested, and it kind of reinforced that I was really good at this. And that's how I got better and better, and
wow.
kind of just
Incredible.
That is very incredible.
It's just like, it's a really good lesson. And, you know, like, I think people often think like, oh, I'm not good at that, so I could never do that.
Yeah.
But like, just trying it and believing in yourself, it takes you a really long way.
Yeah. And when people start telling you, oh, you were really good, or, you know, you sounded really well, or, you know, that was very powerful. And that's what empowers you to even go, okay, I could do
that
this.
again.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm good. You're good. That's awesome.
What about you, Rosalind, with, you know, advice, especially in the law is it's a hard industry. Are you seeing change there with women with women and the hierarchy? And do you think that there needs to be more? Do you think we've made big adjustments or small ones? Just talk to me about that.
God, it's really hard because we have made big adjustments, right? Like we see women being powerful everywhere, you know, and I love that. But at the same time, we're also realizing that we're balancing work life now, right? And mental health is really important. And like, I see that now. And so I was at speaking just actually a couple of days ago at UCI, a pre-law society thing. And some girl came up to me and she was like, so, you know, I have a choice of going to Yale or going to a school nearby, but Yale is very expensive and the school nearby is giving me a full scholarship, you know, and like, what should I do? And I was like, first of all, you need to decide what kind of attorney you want to be, you know, because I was like, if you go to Yale, your options are going to be coming back and working 120 hours a week,
Right.
you know, getting that job that may pay you, you know, 500, $1 million, blah, 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 but you are giving up a lot of things to do that, you know, and you may not work in California. You may, you know, work where you graduate, you may, I don't know. And I was just like, but then being local, like being able to put your roots here and like knowing what you want, not having that debt to hold you back, saying you can take whatever job you want because you don't have that debt anymore. And that was big for me because I was able to get rid of my debt very quickly after law school. And so that was when me and my husband were like, I can open my own firm. I had the ability to say I can open it quit my job and do it. And it was a risk, right? And so, so I told the girl, I was like, you need to figure out what kind of attorney you want to be. Do you want that work-life balance, or do you want to make millions and you want to do really, well and be that executive? And so it's really hard because I think we all want to be powerful. We all want to do that thing, but we all want to also have that balance and that mental health. And so I love what I do because I have that balance. But if I didn't have, if I was working what I was doing when I first graduated, I would die. If I was still doing that right now, I would I would look 80. Not that I look that young anymore.
No sunscreen would help you.
I really don't understand how that's sustainable.
Yeah.
The life that people lead like that. I don't think it is sustainable to some extent, but that's me speaking from the outside. We love working with East West Bank because they really get our community. For over 50 years, they've been helping generations of Asian families reach their dreams. And today, they're one of the top performing banks in the U.S., leading in entertainment, tech, manufacturing, and beyond. But what we love most is how supportive they are of our clients, Asian American clients like us, and how they approach things 360, from business advice to personal banking to just giving you the confidence to go for it. AAGC is proud clients of East West Bank. Their service is like having a personal concierge. Banking with them, we are on a first name basis with our bankers, and we couldn't be happier with the support that we have received. We genuinely feel like they have shown us so much support, from the big picture to the smallest of details. And honestly, banking with them has been so smooth and so empowering, and it feels great knowing someone's rooting for our community, our stories, and our growth. So thank you so much to East West Bank. You were talking about student debt, and I would love to just hear your guys' thoughts, because I feel like our listeners are experiencing this, are coming out of school, and probably do have a lot of debt. How did you come out of debt? What are you seeing these days? And do you have any advice, tips, tricks, and things that our listeners can that could help them navigate student debt?
One of the books I would recommend, and I read the book when I was really, really young, is this book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And there is a rule of 72. And if you know about the rule of 72, you take the percentage and divide it by 72, and it equates to the number of years it takes for your money to double. That's for the saving aspect. But you also have to look at on the debt aspect. If you have a high interest rate, how many years is that debt is going to double if you don't pay it off?
Right.
And so most of the time people are in kind of like a rat race. They're chasing money, and they spend more than their means, right? But I'm such a good saver when I started out, and I've been teaching my kids at 10. They're very young. So anything that's a need, mom pays. Anything that's a want, you have to figure it out yourself. So they have a debit card, they have a savings.
Love it.
And when they get the red envelopes from Chinese New Year, their graduation, or they want something, they go, Mom, is there any chores I can do, right? And so when we come back and I tell them you need to put at least 80% of that money away. So if you're getting 100, put the 80% away. You're paying yourself. You're the first bill that you need to take care of. And then afterwards, that 20% you can kind of spend. So that's where you can, we go shopping to the mall. Then they'll go, okay, Mom, how much do I have in my account? And whenever we go on a trip, when we travel, like we just went back to Taiwan, they go out and they buy stuff and they save for the trip. Let's say they had $400. They come home every day. They're adding their receipts to know exactly how much they spent,
Oh my
how much they have left.
My kids
but
need to
you
hang out with
guys,
your kids.
you guys can talk to my
I need
kids.
to be your kid, actually, period.
No, I know.
I
need to be your
Our 10-year-olds
child.
are managing their finances
Incredible.
possibly better
what
than I
a
do.
gift to learn that young.
Yeah.
And instill those lessons.
And then now with AI, I would just do some run some numbers. I go, if you were to invest at 6%, 12%, instead of spending buying that Lego set, this is what it would be. So I'm trying to teach them all of that, and so that they can make those sound decisions for themselves. Because I wish somebody did that for me. I just kind of was, kind of came out that way, but I didn't have someone to tell you or go to school.
I also love that you still give them the choice. You just give them the options. You're like, this is what it would be. But I mean, if you want to buy the Legos, you buy the Legos.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's very, very,
Very, very cool.
very cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
What would people I would love to hear about your experience with student debt as well. But what if people are starting out learning about saving and like people who didn't learn at 10,
Yeah.
right? What would your advice be to where they should start and what they should look to? What are some simple goals that would allow them to take small steps to become an expert in this, right? And to really become really well versed in it, because I
Yeah.
think that's the goal at the end of the day.
So my advice to start is to really sit down and start creating a budget. How much you make is not about the amount you make, but you put down, okay, what is my rent? What is my car? Are you paying gas? Cell phone? Everybody has a smartphone now. They can't leave their phone. So, that's a bill in itself too. So once you budget all of that stuff out, then you go, okay, women, we need facials. We need to do our hair. You budget all of that in. And do you have that? And you start saving towards those goals. Whenever we do a trip, so I have like 5 different accounts. I have a travel account, a college account for my kids. So when I get my paycheck, it's already direct deposit into those buckets for those particular amounts. And the other thing that I want to say is I've had a friend who shared this with me, and I'm going to share it with you. Whenever we get a raise, people go, oh, I have more money. I'm going to upgrade my car. I'm going to buy this and so forth. But I just kind of just set that money aside to go to the savings because you're already used to the means of your living.
Yes.
And if you can still stay within those means, doesn't mean you start pulling that money out.
Live below the means then.
Right. And then once you have a savings goal, then you start planning for that savings and start talking to people, maybe opening some EFTs.
What's an EFT?
So you would buy these stocks, mutual funds, because if you don't have, like, let's say, the knowledge to know what stocks to buy, then you would put it in these EFTs can help you. And if you look at it long term, it always is going to surpass whatever the picking of your own stocks is going to do. If you look at it long term, anything short term, you might be lucky, gamble, and something goes up, right?
Yeah.
But then you also want to also put away 6 to 12 months of an emergency fund. That's for rainy days.
Yeah.
No one thinks rainy days come. And
They come.
Like the wire fire, right? This chemical plant that just happened in
They come.
the Anaheim. And so when you have some money, you're not going into your savings and you have that part to get through. And those are really, really important principles to take with you.
Yeah.
To make sure and try to not have debt.
Yeah.
If you get out of it, don't get
Credit
back into
debt,
it.
student debt. I mean, there is a lot of different debt.
I think all of the things that you hit on are so valuable to think about and for people to take small steps if they haven't already. Oh my gosh, my computer. But I also think that I think money is so tied to, or finances is so tied to fear and stress. And I'm sure that like student debt and any kind of debt, it's this cloud that hangs over your head. And then the rainy day fund, like, I don't think people are thinking about that. They're like, well, I have some savings. So, right. But if you have the rainy day fund, that to me is like, well, I have that if that's an emergency that I absolutely need. Then I don't have to dip into my savings. There's like so much stress that is lifted because you're like, I've got the padding. I've got the, I've got the baseline and I'm covered. Rosalind, I would love to hear about like the stress and the student debts and just your mindset of like that experience of, going to law school and having to navigate that and how lucky you were that you were able to pay it off so, so young and so early.
Yeah, I honestly, like, you mentioned Rich Dad, Poor Dad. For me, it was like rich mom, poor mom. Like, how am I going to not be that, right? So it was like, so at a very early age, I worked. And I was like you, I worked, when I was driving a car at 14. I mean, don't tell anybody. My parents made me take care of everybody. So I was doing pickups and drop-offs at 14. And I was working at 14. Yeah,
this wasn't even Taiwan. You know, Asia, we could get away with a lot in Asia.
I drove myself to my driver's
test. I can't have my daughter let you hear.
So it was one of those things where I had to take care of everybody, and I hated like not having a childhood, and so and being poor and doing all those things. So when it came down to it, when I went to college, my parents were like, "If you're gonna move on campus, you're gonna pay for it yourself," and and you have to pay for blah, blah, blah yourself. And I was like, okay. So I had 3 jobs, through all 4 years almost of college. And then when I got to law school, I also worked, and it's something in my head was like, you can't have debt. You can't like live like that because you won't be able. And there's this saying by another, like Dave Ramsey, I think, and he's just like, live like no one else now so you can live like no one else later. And meaning like you have to not have those nice things now so that you can live differently later. And and so I've been able to do that, thank God. And it just by, the God's grace that I'm able to like, take care of my kids. And my kids, I tell them like, my parents aren't told me you can be whatever you want, but I tell my kids you can do whatever you want, because we're at a place where I want you to do whatever you want. And like you need to make money, you need to take care of yourself, but I want you to pursue what you want. So my daughter's going to a school for creative writing, OSHA, and she wants to be an author. And
OSHA?
Yeah, OSHA.
Great school.
You remember it. Yeah. So and just knowing that she can do that and say like, I want to try to write. I want to do like my parents would never. They'll be like, oh, can you imagine? You're never gonna fake it. You're never gonna sell anything. So, and right now with like AI coming around and like taking jobs and stuff, we all have to be more mindful of what that looks like for us and what that looks like for our kids. So we need to just like, I just feel like people need to think about, like you said, how are we saving now? How are we budgeting now so that later on you can not work if you don't want to work, take care of your kids if you want to take care of your kids, so, yeah.
People don't realize now they're just spending. Everything is about right now.
Yeah.
Me, right now. You look at these kids, they're getting boobas. Boba's so expensive
God,
now.
yes.
I'm like $7 to $8. My kid wants a boba all the time. I go, okay, how
That's
much
a
do you
want.
have?
That's not a need.
Yeah,
That's coming out of the
Get that
want.
checking account.
Yeah, and then
Yes.
I did the math. I go, look, $10 a day. If you do that, that's $300. But if you put this $300 at 12%, no tax
love
deferred.
it.
And I
Oh my
keep
gosh.
drilling them, right?
Every time I
Because-
spend something, I'm gonna send it to Renee. I'm gonna be like, Renee, what
Is this okay,
what do you
Renee?
think? What do you
Can
think?
we do this?
Yeah. Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
I'm gonna make Claude my Renee.
My Renee. Yeah. Yeah.
Kara, can we talk about the new AAGC collection?
I am freaking out. Look at this new color, the matcha collection.
This gingham short with this quarter zip.
I mean, I'm going to be living in this.
I
This is
know.
so cute.
It is giving cottage courts, giving tennis vibes. It's everything I love, cozy and chic.
Oh, it looks so good on you.
Thank
And
you too.
I'm so obsessed with the fact that it is dropping just in time for Heritage Month. I mean, this month is so special to us because it is for us to celebrate our culture, our stories, and our community with all of you. And that's also what makes wearing AGC so special.
Yes, and we love seeing all of you wear it out there. So please tag us. We get such a kick out of it.
Please tag us. And also, there's nothing better than seeing AAGC out in the wild. I was getting coffee the other day, and the girl in front of me, like waiting in line to order her coffee, had the AAGC hat on.
No, it's
And you can see the brand on the back, and it
So
just
cute.
made me really happy. It made me really happy.
so cute. And the I'm from here shirt, I love this. This is like AAGC to its core.
This is the core. And
Right.
also revealing Cozy Kitty. Okay? If I could be embodied into a form right now, it would be this Cozy Kitty. Because this sweatshirt that I have on is also very cozy. COZY, cozy. Here for it. So if you are as obsessed with this matcha line like me and Jenna are, this line is available exclusively at AsianAmericanGirlClub.com. I mean, sorry, just to jump
Yeah,
on like
no,
kind
for
of what
sure.
you were saying too, because I feel like, like you were saying the youth, but also I
Yeah.
see this sometimes even with like people my age,
Yes.
people who are living, unfortunately paycheck to paycheck, right? And they have debt, whether it be credit, whatever. Sometimes I feel like the mindset is, I'm already like so far in the hole. It's impossible to climb out. So like, let me just spend the money on the thing
No,
that's going to
yeah.
bring me joy right
Happiness,
now.
right.
Because it's like, I'm never going to get out because of the student debt, the credit debt or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts, either of you, on how possibly somebody could shift that mindset, or if there's like something that they can do to just shift that mindset or give them some
them
hope?
out of that.
Exactly,
Yeah.
that hole of just like,
Yeah,
how do
it's a
I get
deep
out?
one.
It's really hard to change how people think, right?
Yeah.
But then that's why I keep saying that you have to budget, you have to think about the future. You really have to think about the future. And once you start saving and paying yourself, that's going to go a long ways. And I think, Rosalind nailed it, where people don't think about how you want to live later. So you got to kind of give up some things. But, I look at Instagram, I'm looking at 18-year-old, she's wearing Chanel earrings, and I go, how do these kids afford that? We didn't be able to afford any of that stuff. And they are really living, either they're coming from really good families or they're not getting that financial education.
Yeah. There's so much pressure too even without social media, I felt that growing up, right? The designer, the luxury, all
the
of
bags
it.
and
But, when we think about it, as I get older, I'm like, none of that matters. And when will it matter the most is later in life, when you want to retire and you want to be set where you don't have to worry about working, past a certain age. But it's a really tough
it is really
and
tough
age to have children and to also see younger generations feeling like just so much external pressure all the time.
Yeah.
But if you can give yourself like small awards, so every year, like during bonus time, I will get myself something nice, because that's what it's going to carry you for the next 12 months to work your behind off.
Treat yourself.
So I think the little, the kids or the youth, they just have to figure that out.
Yeah.
Just not right now. Maybe set a goal.
Yeah.
And then when you get there, hey, you're rewarded.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's
Well,
the
like,
reward.
It's so interesting because like I was with a client and she's the boss, right? She owns this multi-million-dollar company. And she's like, why are all my workers, all of my employees doing Uber Eats every day? Doing, and she was like, I bring my own lunch. And like everyone has the nicer cars than me. And I'm just like, she was like, I wish I can tell them that like, like it's not worth it. Like and it's like maybe they need classes to like to tell them like, hey, you can live differently if you just live a little differently,
Yes.
and I think like
I don't think we're talking about it enough. I don't think that we're educating enough at the most impressionable and formative time. Like you can do it in your own household, but like we were talking about before, like in school, you take economics. I mean, you're like, I'm sleeping, I'm sleeping in this class, and like you're not learning like the basic tools to set you up for set these kids up for success. And I think it's definitely something that's very needed and that we should have.
In high school, they should do a class for
No,
like
they really should.
High
school, college.
It's crazy because my daughter came home and then her econ class does that. So they have a spreadsheet. They pretend they get a job. They have to get a degree, get a job, and then they get a monthly income. And then what kind of car you want to buy. So some cars will put, Tesla, and then they'll put the price. Okay, are you buying used, new?
Yeah, leasing,
gas?
whatever.
Good.
Put everything out. And she goes, oh, okay, Mom, I wasn't the highest scored student, but I'm not on the bottom. I'm right there in the middle. But at least that's a start.
Yeah.
Yes.
So some of the schools, they are teaching that.
That's
so
really good to
I
hear.
never heard that. That would have been really nice, right?
Like I said, I learned this way, way later. I mean, it's all about the financial literacy, right?
Yes.
Like that's just what it is. I think, what we were talking about earlier before with the mindset, I mean, what I got from that is like the advice is for people, like you have to put it down on paper. I think a lot of people are scared to do that.
Yeah.
Because they're scared.
Yeah.
They're scared to see
Yeah.
what
Where
you're spending because
it brings like it makes me boil.
Exactly.
I'm like,
the credit card you just swipe, it doesn't feel like real money sometimes. Everything's like auto pay now.
Yep.
But like when you actually write it down, like everything, how much you spend on like even parking meters, you see where it's all going. Exactly.
My girlfriend's daughter, she gives her credit card, right? And then she buys smoothie every day. And I said, oh, you need to make sure you teach your daughter. And so I said, go ask her, how much do you think her monthly bill is? And she told me her monthly spending is about $600 to $900 for a 15year-old.
For smoothies?
Like the whole thing, like going out with friends and
like,
stuff
she's
like
going
that.
to Where's she going? Okay.
And then I said, did you ask her? So when she asked her daughter, she's like, oh, Mom, I'm probably spending, your credit card about $300. They don't have that.
That's right.
They don't have that. They don't have that
fake
understanding.
Money.
Yeah.
You don't see it. It goes off into the ether, and then it doesn't exist anymore. It's plastic. So
yeah,
it's definitely financial literacy.
Well, that's why it's like I feel blessed to be to grow up poor because like, it made
You don't
us
have
like
that much, right?
have to
Yeah.
learn it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Whereas when our
Multiple
kids,
jobs growing up, like you had to
Yeah.
be able to figure
yeah,
that out,
right?
right?
Whereas kids now, like my kids love sushi. I'm like, do you know how much that is? Do you
Yeah.
know, like you know,
Right.
My kids
I'm
love
like,
sushi too. I go, we
right?
get
They're
to
like,
eat that
we'll
all
get
the
the Toro.
time.
You're like,
Good palates, okay? It's important. Good
yeah,
palates.
yes.
East West Bank has been such an incredible supporters of Asian American Girl Club, of so many of our friends
yes.
and businesses. And obviously, you've been there for a long time, Renee, and are just making magic. Can you just tell me a little bit about some of the things that East West Bank is doing and supporting and highlighting right now? Because you guys are really just so incredible. And I think everybody should know the work you guys are doing.
Yeah, thank you, Jenna, because I had my fair share of working at different financial institutions. And, you know, just looking back now when I joined East West Bank, it was something deeply personal because this institution was formed and to serve the Asian American community.
Yeah.
And so we started with that. And East West Bank is like the financial bridge between the East and the West, whether it's East Coast to West Coast and from Asia to the US.
Yeah.
But we've been bridging the gaps for different backgrounds and so forth. And I think strongly feel that our bank is here to help people build confidence and they can reach further. And so it started out where our art program has been around, Jenna, for over 20 years.
Wow.
We started out with the Chinese modern art, teaching about that with our customers or the communities. And over the years, that has completely evolved because now we serve a much diverse community. So now we partner with the LACMA.
Yeah.
We partner with the Broad Museum, Fine Arts Museum in San Francisco. And so it's not just arts, but it's also connecting people with sports. So for almost 20 years, we've been partnering with the LA Lakers, where they're presenting sponsor
Go Lakers.
for
Go
the
Lakers.
season of giving. And people, you know, really like, and because it doesn't matter what ethnicity or what, where you're from,
Yeah.
you're rich, poor, sports, art, everything,
Yes.
music connects people.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes,
And so
love
the
that.
last couple of years, we talked about, I sit on the board for First Tee Greater Pasadena. We've been working with different chapters of the First Tee, but that is like teaching young kids life skills through the game of golf. And how we partner with them is teaching those kids financial literacy. And so just talking about that, I'm getting
Yes.
goosebumps,
Yes.
right? Because
So important.
it's so important. And East West, I feel like, over the years, we have now just not, different backgrounds, but now even crisis, like we had the wildfires.
Yeah.
And our bank will step up to the plate, come out and serve the community. We worked with Pasadena Community Foundation, Habitat of Humanity, and the YMCA, but just getting the volunteers to go out to serve the community so that we can rebuild after this catastrophe, which is just really heartbreaking for those folks who lost their homes. So it's a
amazing.
great thing.
You guys do so much, and we're so grateful for East West and helping stories like these, come to life and helping us be able to put people in the seats where you guys are sitting and get those stories out to the masses. So we're so grateful. You guys are such trailblazers, and you've done such incredible work in your fields, and then also giving back in your advocacy work. Obviously, we said your bios are so robust, and we're just so grateful that you have imparted your wisdom today with us. Before we let you guys go, we would just love to ask each of you just like one nugget of advice that you would have given your younger self that you wish you knew when you were a little bit younger.
Rosalind, go ahead. Take it away.
That's a hard one, right?
Yeah.
But honestly, I would tell myself, just do it, and like it's gonna be okay. I think I worried so much as a kid and as an adult, even I worried so much, and I realize now, looking back, like it all turned out okay. No matter what I decided or where I went or what I did, like you
figured it out.
You figure it out,
Yeah.
and it's perspective. So don't worry about it. Why worry? Don't let it steal your joy and your peace by like trying to always worry about it when you can just say, okay, this happened, and move on, and like let's figure out what's next. And so I love that I think it's all about perspective. I think that once you figure it out, you don't have to worry about it anymore. So,
Beautiful.
yeah.
So to piggy off of Rosalind, we're never going to get things right. There's always going to be something wrong. But I felt one thing that I took a class and it talked about focusing on your strengths. A lot of people want to say, oh, okay, how can I do this better? How do I improve my weaknesses? We all have room for growth. We're always going to have to be learning and stuff. But if you start figuring out how to leverage your strengths, that's going to carry you so far. And I know exactly what my strengths are. And that's what's helped me to grow in my career. So focusing on your strengths, and then look at other folks to focus on their strengths, because no one's perfect. No one's going to be good at everything. But if you can start, pulling this strength and pulling these people together, put them together to offset their weaknesses, magic happens.
So good.
That's a really good advice.
Really good nuggets, you guys.
Love it. Love it.
Renee, Rosalind, thank you so much for being
Oh,
here with
thanks
us.
for
It's
having
such a
us.
pleasure.
Yes,
We're
that was
so
fun.
it's such
Wasn't
an
that bad.
honor.
We're
Yeah,
good.
we were all
You were
nervous for
Great.
nothing.
You were great. That
Thank
was
you,
such a
guys.
great episode. Thank you for
you.
coming.
You guys are so good at this.
Yeah.
I love it.
You've been listening to Undefinable, an AAGC Originals podcast brought to you by Asian American Girl Club. Executive produced by Ali Maki, Jenna Ushkowitz, Tia Sam, and Kara Wang. Edited by Jacob Ho. Intro music by Gloria Kim. Thanks for listening.